Hey now, what's going on? It's Jose Mangin from Sirius XM, and this, my brother, ooh yeah, is Good Company.
Good Company!
Hey guys, my name's Scott Bowling, and you're watching Good Company. Today, I'm with the man, Jose Mangin. Jose hosts 2 shows on Sirius XM with Sirius Octane and Liquid Metal. He also has his own Tequila, like you're like a part owner or something.
I'm a big fan.
Zippo Lighters, you work with that?
Yeah,
Affliction?
Yeah.
You do it all, man.
Man, I'm Mexican, bro. I have to have a bunch of jobs, you know what I'm saying?
Nice.
It's like predetermined, like you gotta have 6 jobs or you're not doing it right.
You're like the metal entrepreneur.
Man, I want to stay busy, but I also just involve myself with things that I love.
Nice.
You know, and things that I'm super passionate about, and that's what I've been super blessed to be able to surround myself with, is that kind of stuff. I mean, first, you know, metal, you know, is the one that, you know, comforts me the most, and to believe what I'm doing now is just I can't.
Did you have like a role model looking up, doing all these different things? You know, did somebody help you along the way with that?
I mean, the first person that I think of is my cousin. His name is David Lee, and he was like 6.5, 7 years older than me. He had long hair, wear metal T-shirts and stuff, and him and his brothers are motorcycle dudes, and they had the back shack with the green light posters and the Iron Maiden and the Motley Crue and the Aussie stuff on the walls. And I always thought that was really cool, and I wanted to be like those guys.
Wow.
And so he got me into metal when I was in kindergarten. And so I became diehard metal since kindergarten. So as far as like setting me off on the path, it was my cousin. And then it became just my life, everything. But as far as like the other stuff is being like more business, I mean, I have some people in my life, like, I mean, Danny Wimmer, who's Danny Wimmer Presents. I mean, that dude is doing a lot of stuff, and I look up to him as like an influence. And my boss, the guy who owns Affliction, Courtney Dubar, he started making punk shirts out of his garage for his brother's band in LA, Orange County, and then now he has this empire of stuff. And he's doing a lot of stuff. So there are people I look at in the business, but as far as metal, my cousin, man.
Yeah.
My cousin, David Lee.
Kindergarten, though. How old was your cousin when you were in kindergarten?
I mean, he was 6.5 years, 7 years older than me. No, older. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in junior high, maybe, or something.
What were you listening to in kindergarten?
Motley Crue.
That is awesome.
Shout at the Devil. After my nana gave me some, I was raised on the Mexican border of Arizona and Mexico. And I remember my nana gave me $20. And the next day, my dad took me to Kmart, and I went to the tape section. I got Shout with the Devil, and I came home, and that I couldn't believe it. You know how scared I was, and how intrigued I was with it. And then the next week, I had like $8 left over, you know, from the tape. And then my dad gave me a couple more bucks, and I bought Rats Out of the Cellar. And then that was it. Kindergarten, those were my 2 tapes for maybe like a half a year. And I became like just real like possessive with metal, obsessed with it.
Really? Was there anything like, let's say outside of metal, were you listening to anything else, or were you just saying 100% you were listening to?
No, I mean, no. And then it grew into Def Leppard and Skid Row. I love Bon Jovi, man. I love Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
You know, Bon Jovi's badass, dude. People that say, "Oh, Bon Jovi, you're a puss, dude." Like, I'm not a puss. I love Bon Jovi, but that stuff, you know, that was all part of the progression, you know. No, I mean, I liked hip hop and stuff like that, but I think I was a break dancer for a couple of minutes there. But I was always metal, dude. It was always just, you know, long hair. It was just the horror movies. It was just that side. That was what really triggered my life.
What are some like shows that you saw live? Like, what are some of the first live bands you saw live?
I mean, I think my parents took me to the Arizona State Fair, and I saw Willie Nelson when I was a little kid. But that wasn't I don't count that as my first show, because I wasn't into it, and I was forced to be there, so it wasn't cool. When I was in junior high and I went to my first show, my cousin, same dude, David, took me to go see Iron Maiden and Anthrax. And it was Anthrax, Persistence of Time, and I have that album cover tattooed on my leg now. And it was Iron Maiden, No Prayer for the Dying. It was on an Indian reservation outside of Phoenix. And that was my very first show. That's where I first smelled weed, you know, and that's when I found out what that was. And I was like, oh, that's marijuana.
Yeah, it smells funny in here.
This is true story, because I'm such a big cannabis fan now. But I remember it was my cousin and his friend Bob, and then Bob was smoking a joint. I thought it was a cigarette, and then he passed it to me, and he was like, you want some? And then my cousin said, what are you doing, man? That's my little cousin, dude. And then that's when I said, oh, that's marijuana. Yeah, it was heavy, man.
That's awesome.
It was a heavy moment.
When you, when you're that age, do you have a lot of, like, your cousin and you guys listen to metal, but was it hard being in school and having, like, there probably wasn't a lot of metalheads around the time, you know what I mean? Or people that listen to the same kind of music, did you?
You know.
So how did you have friends that listen to the same stuff, or?
Here's where it started, Scott. I became an ambassador of metal since then. I was the guy who turned people onto it. I was the guy who wanted to make it cool to like that music. I wanted to get my friends and infect them, and for them to infect their friends. And so I was the dude who wanted to start that. So that's what I did. And so my friends weren't into it in the beginning, but I just did it all the time. Parties, driving in cars. I took over the stereos and I'd play, my music. I'd put my tape mix in, or my CD mix, or whatever it was at the time. And so that's how it really started for me, was spreading that message, the gospel of metal, from an early age.
It just became a passion. That's amazing.
But I always felt like it was a challenge for me. Like, okay, these people aren't into metal, they will be. Give me some time with them. My dad always said that I was a real good salesman. He would say I can sell ice cream to Eskimos. And I think that, since I was a little kid, I've been selling metal, not selling it, but, pushing it. And that was really, and I see where it all kind of came from now too, because I wasn't doing it with a goal in mind. I'm going to be some big metal guy someday. I was just doing it because I was a diehard, and I wanted other people to be, diehard with me. So I had the lead. So that's what I did.
So after high school, and didn't you go to college? Was that kind of a weird transition?
I was a big nerd, man. I'm a big nerd, man.
You were like a smart metalhead.
Yeah, well, because that was also a way to show everybody how legit we are, right? Because metalheads, troublemakers, going to jail, not good grades, detention or whatever, not in sports. I did all that. I played football. I had straight A's in high school. And my sophomore year, I was like, come on, I can do this. This is easy. And then I just said boom, and I just turned it on. And then I went boom, and when I graduated, there was 220 kids, and I had the third most amount of academic scholarships out of all the graduating class. Long fucking hair, my fucking cheesy raper mustache, but I was just a metalhead, and I just wanted to bring it a good name. I wanted to make it look good in front of the principals, the counselors, the teachers, other people, professionals. I wanted to be like legit. Yeah, I'm super diehard metal, but I'm also really smart. And so I used that to go to undergrad, University of Arizona. That's where I started college radio, but I was there to major in chemistry. And then I went to graduate school 4 years later for pharmacy. But now we're kind of going up and up and up. So as far as where I started radio versus all that. But
yeah, so you kind of slowly picked radio on the side?
No, it was never, none of this stuff ever happened. It wasn't a plan, man. It was never a plan. It was just my love. My number one passion in life was heavy metal. And so when I was in school, freshman year, University of Arizona, long hair, I was taking one of my cool electives was Spanish guitar. Because I play bass, I play guitar and bass, and I wanted to improve my right hand, for playing bass with my fingers. And so I took this Spanish guitar class, and first few weeks of class, I was, before it started, I was on my nylon acoustic playing some Metallica, and then some nerdy guy comes up and he's like, hey man, are you in the metal? And I was like, I just kept on playing. What does it look like, man? just playing. Of course I am.
Dude, they need to make a movie after you, because that's like a perfect scene.
Dude, it's a vivid scene. I was the stupid little dick too for being mean to him at the beginning, and because I'm not mean, but it was just weird because I didn't know. I was a freshman in college. I didn't know anything really. And so this really cool guy, he kept on every time in class, would just talk to me, and he befriended me. And then at one time he said, hey, I'm the music director of the radio station here. We don't have a metal show. Would you be interested in coming to do a metal program with us? And I was like, I'm not a DJ, I'm just a metalhead, because I didn't think of myself as a DJ. I didn't think of myself as, I didn't know. DJ to me at the time sounded like an FM dude that changes his voice and, he does all that crazy stuff. I was like, that's not me.
Wow.
And then he was persistent. And then finally, I was like, yeah, dude, I'll come check it out. And so this leads me into where I'm at here in your spot. Like, I remember going into the basement of the Student Union, University of Arizona, and I didn't even know the radio station was there. I didn't even know we had a radio station. It was an AM radio station, but I walked into the basement and I saw it covered in posters, covered even the ceilings, the desks and stickers, and the thing I saw was a Korn poster. And I see a lot of Korn all over the place here. I know you're a big fan. I'm a huge fan.
Huge fan.
I saw a Korn poster and I was like, oh, there's Korn here, And then I saw a Rage Against the Machine poster. It's like, oh. These guys are they're cool then, And then I felt like I fit in, And that's like, people always have that moment where they felt like they fit into something. In school, high school, college, or whatever. That was a time when I was like, oh shit. And you guys, I mean, what can I do here? And he's like, well, start a metal show and start contacting record labels and start getting people to send you product. And I was like, and they just send it over?
Yeah.
Like, and what? And I just
Are you getting paid at this time?
No, so this is all just college radio. No, I didn't get paid forever, Scott. I mean, metal was, okay, here's a big lesson. Metal isn't money. It isn't. It really isn't. It really isn't. Metal has to be about you loving it. It can't be about money. If it was about money for me, woo, man, dude, everybody would have left my ass, dude. I'd be homeless, dude, because I wouldn't care. I would just do it because I love the music so much, and I love the mission of bringing it to people. And so, no, at the time, college radio, no, I started my first radio show, the very first metal station show at the University of Arizona's radio station, and it was fun, dude, to get music and to talk about metal on the radio 1 hour. Then it became a 2-hour show, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Starting to talk to record label people, industry people, becoming friends with the same people that are still doing it today after all these years. This was in '96, so. And then meeting my idols, bands that I worshipped, growing up, and then being able to help them on a tiny level, and that's where it started, man. But I was just doing it for fun, and then I went to Tennessee to go to graduate school, and then I tried really hard to get a job at the FM rock station that leaned more metal. It was an active rock station. And through recommendations of friends, I was able to contact them, and through being super persistent, like in between pharmacy classes, I would call the DJ who was the program director at afternoons, and I would call him up, and I'd be just keep asking him when I can come up to see him. And pretty soon he was like a kind of a joke, what do you want, Jose? And I was like, oh, Addison, I'm just waiting to see, when can I come see you? I'm busy, man. And then finally he said he would come up, and I met the radio station program director, and he was really cool to me, but he said I wasn't ready, and I wasn't ready to be a DJ, but he was like, you can work in the promotions department. So I was like, oh, cool. So that's when I started working at a commercial station in the promotions department. So, but going to pharmacy school, I don't think I'm jumping ahead. I don't know what you want to know.
No, you're fine.
Dude.
No, keep going.
I mean, so then in pharmacy school in Memphis, Tennessee, working at the radio station, working at the Veterans Hospital in the pharmacy department, working at the Mexican restaurant El Porton, which I got fired from twice for selling margaritas to hot blonde chicks, dude, that weren't of age, man. I thought they were.
That's awesome.
But in Memphis,
You're like, I'm a DJ.
No,
I'm a
I didn't.
DJ.
I never do. I didn't even know that metal wasn't really. I don't know, man. Sometimes metal isn't cool. I always think it's cool.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I always try to push it. But a lot of people think I'm just weird, But no, in Memphis, I started the radio show there, and after a year, I won an award in an industry trade magazine, Album Network, for best metal DJ in the country.
That's
and
crazy.
And in the picture. Speaking of, because I know you're a big fan of Seven Dust, and I see
Yeah.
Seven Dust stuff everywhere. In the picture, I'm wearing a Seven Dust shirt.
Oh.
When I'm featured in this piece where they say I'm the metal director of the year. So I got job offers to work in the business.
What year was that when you?
This
what
was
happening?
this was 1999 when I won that award, and so I was a year into pharmacy school. I had 3 more years to be a doctor of pharmacy.
You're at a crossroads, kind of.
Yeah, I was when TVT Records,
Seven
Dust. They wanted to fly me out to New York, and I'd never been. And they wanted me to work for them, but I was like, no, I'm in school. But they were like, well, just come out, we'll fly you out.
Huge offer though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, dude, but I worked forever to go to pharmacy school and to get into this very excellent school and to be 3 years away from being a doctor.
Totally.
I mean, I'm close. So, but then we'll just fly you out. Just come check it out. Just come talk to us. And I was like, all right. So I went into New York City, and I was like, oh my God, holy shit, this is whoa. And I tripped out. I couldn't believe it. I just seen it on TV and in the movies, and it blew my mind. And then they offered me a job to work there to push their musicians, their bands, to dudes like me, radio programmers like myself and DJs and stuff. And I said, whoa, and I get to work with Seven Dust, and they just signed Nothing Face, one of my other favorite bands.
Yeah.
I love them so much. Tom is now hell yeah. So I said, yeah. So I moved to Jersey City in the beginning of 2000. And I started working at TVT Records. And then in the summer of 2000, that's when Sirius Satellite Radio sent me an email. They wanted all this back catalog product from our artists, like a list of 50 albums. I said, dude, what kind of request is this? Who are you? What is Sirius Satellite Radio? And the dude, alternative director Jerry Rubino at the time, was told me about it on the phone. I'm like, I don't know what that is. Is this the .com? What is it?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it's not. It's satellite radio and it's subscription based. I was like, I don't know what that is.
It's all brand new.
It was so crazy. And I said, send me some information, dude, because I have to get this approved by my boss. And so he sent me a pamphlet. And I remember going on the train from New York to Jersey and checking out this pamphlet and looking at the technology, the money that went into this, the years that it took to do this. And it was talking about building satellites and launching them from Russia, and the executives that were there from Music Choice and other companies, and they were starting this like revolution. And then I saw the channel guide, Scott, and I was going through it, and then I saw 24/7 heavy metal, and I said, oh, and I fucking shit myself.
Did you?
Did
you literally?
A piece of shit came out.
Turtle
A turtle head came out, and it really did on the bus, and I had to suck it back up. He was like, "No, fuck, this is bad. This is true, dude." I was shitting myself when I saw a heavy metal 24/7, and I got emotional. I'm
Basically
emotional right
commercial
now.
free.
Shit,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that this existed, and so I was like, and the next morning, right away, I called him. I was like, Jerry, I'll send you anything you want. I was fucking panting. I was like, who's the rock guy? I need to email him. I was like literally freaking out. And then he was like, dude, calm down. And he gave me the dude's name, and I wrote this dude a 7-page email on how I live, shit, and breathe
That's so
metal.
real, man. I love it.
And it was fucking my life, and I just spread it all out there, and all the pharmacy and everything. And I was like, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what it led me to, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And the dude wrote me back like 2 sentences. You're insane, or something like, you're fucking nuts. But I'll meet you at this show. I invited him to go see Nashville Pussy at a concert in New York City because they were on the TVT. And so I met the dude. He found out that I wasn't psychotic and crazy and some serial killer, invited me to the studios. I was waiting in the lobby, and they were just building out our headquarters in Times Square. Plastic walls still. The head of programming walking down the hallway. I'm such a nerd, Scott. I memorized the brochure, memorized all the executives' names and what they did, memorized everything.
Smart.
And I was just there waiting in the lobby, looking down from 36 floors high, Radio City Music Hall is down there. I was like, what the fuck? This is crazy. What am I doing? And then she walks down the hallway, and I see her, and I went right up to her, and I was like, hey, what's up, Maria? My name's Jose Mangin. Nice to meet you. And she said, do I know you? How do you know me? And I said, I memorized the brochure, and she started cracking up. She's like, who are you here to see? And I said, I'm here to see Dawn, and she was like, why? And I was like, I want to work here. And then I was just super honest, and I just told her and told her what my background quick, and she asked me if I knew Spanish, and I quickly started to speak Spanish because I'm fluent. And she knew Spanish. She was an Italian lady, and she just loved me. And she asked me about Latino rock bands, alternative rock bands from Latin America. I named off all these bands that I knew growing up on the border. I knew all that stuff. And she was like, you're perfect. Wow. And I said, for what? She was like, I'm going to talk to these people. 2 weeks later, they offered me double what I was making at TVT, which was nothing at the, looking back. But for me, it was, a lot.
A good start.
They offered me double to come build the rock department at Sirius Satellite Radio. So I've been there since the summer of 2000.
And that's a gamble too, man, because when you start, nobody really knows what it is,
People made fun of me. The head of TVT was like, you're going to come crawling back to me after your little MP3 venture goes sour. People were just MP3 this, it's going to suck and it's not going to do anything.
That's
and
right,
I'm like,
Napster and all
it's
that.
Not, we're not MP3s, it's not that. And it's like, but no one really knew what it was. And people resisted us, and and didn't give us the time of day in the beginning too. Cyrus, what's that? No one's going to pay for that. I would go around the country talking about Sirius Satellite Radio, different parts of the country, Best Buy parking lots, Circuit City parking lots, and talking to people, playing music, a mix, getting on the microphone, talking to 5 people sometimes. Wow. And they're not going to pay for that radio, Joe's. And I'd be like, hey, it's Jose, sir. No one's going to pay for that, Cyrus. I'm like, sir, it's serious, but do you have cable television? Well, yes, I do. Why not just rely on the free over-the-air TV stations, at the time, which was still existed. Oh, well, there's no choices. It's boom. And then it changed, life changed, dude, when Howard came to us.
So Howard came to you. When did he come to you guys?
He announced October 2006. Wait, hold on. October 2004 is when he announced on K-Rock that he was coming to Sirius.
That was a huge step.
And I remember my wife, who's here with us right now, but I remember we came into work early that day. And it was at a time when people were kind of scared. A lot of people internally were scared of XM and Sirius because XM was ahead of us by numbers.
We were a division.
We were mortal enemies. Oh, they hated us. We hated them. They were 11 months before we were, as far as launching. They went with 2 satellites over the equator. I can get super nerdy now, but we went with 3 that did figure 8s over the continental U.S. in North America. So better reception, took longer to do and to come up with that, constellation and all that. It's super science and stuff, but these guys were like, just put it up, go, let's go. Yeah. So they launched, they wanted to beat us, and they did, and they were ahead. So, but there was a time when it was just scary too, I think, for both companies, and no one really knew. And then Howard said, I remember I came into work early that morning because she had to go to work. She dropped me off, it was like 8 before 8, and I was in my office, dark, and I remember listening to some music, and then I got a call from a record label president, and he called me up, and he was like, hey, Jose, congratulations, on Stern. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was like, dude, turn on K-Rock right now. Stern's coming to Sirius. I'm like, he's not. Shut up, dude. And I was like, and I went and I was like, gone. And I pressed the button, and then all of a sudden I heard him like, and that's why I'm coming to Sirius. And then I was like, dude, I'll call you back. And I hung up, and there was nobody in the office. And then I was listening for a couple of minutes, and I walked out into the lobby, into the hallway, and I saw the executives, 4 of the executives, and they were getting catering trays into the conference room, and they were shaking each other's hands, and there was nobody else around. And they were on the corner, and I walked over to them slow, and I was like, guys, is this real? Is this? And they were like, congratulations, Jose, you know, and we got Howard. I'm like, dude, and then that was it, Scott. Yeah. That was it. My life, I cried. I cried that day, yeah.
So, and when you guys have Howard, when you guys combine,
man.
didn't you so when you guys come together as XM and all that?
November 8th, 2006. No, sorry. When did we come together as a company?
Yeah.
Howard came 1906. We merged November 08. November 18th, 08 is when
huge.
the two companies. So that's another time in my life when shit just got crazy. Because when we flicked that switch that one day, we went from that audience to that audience. Mm-hmm. And so there was haters, there was people, because people lost their jobs on both sides, and people had the station, we had the name, and I was not ever a fan of the name of our station, Liquid Metal. I loved Heart Attack. That was what we earned. We earned that victory, as far as when the company merged. Like when the All-Star team was announced, they were like, Jose, you and your team are coming to this company, and I said, fuck yeah, but we're keeping the name of the other stations. Like, oh, come on. But we all came over. But it took years. I think it took years. I think to try to make everybody happy. Even at the same time, it's hard. I mean, we're one metal station. Octane was this other thing. Octane was a huge beast of a station. I started that station, ran it for 7 years. That was my baby. I had three sons at Sirius XM. Liquid Metal, Heart Attack is my oldest son. Yep. He's 19. Oh, cool. Octane is my second son, C-section, and I tattooed the scar. Is pretty cool. No, just kidding. The second.
Did it hurt, man?
Yeah, no, man, I was good, bro. And Octane's about 17 years old. 16 years old? I don't know, dude. I should have wrote that shit down.
What about Ozzy's
Boneyard?
Don't you help with that?
Yeah, I started that, and I ran that for the first 4 years, and I started that with Ozzy and Sharon in their home. Ozzy's Boneyard is now about 10 years old, I would say. He's about 10. Yeah. So, but now Octane and Liquid Metal are my two babies, and Ozzy's Boneyard as well. I mean, I just look at my sons that I've had the longest,
So I had a question. So when did you start branching out and doing all these different things, like bringing Metallica on stage? Yeah. Like how did it go from radio to getting out there and doing Zippos and clothing?
The first time I was ever on stage, it was performing with the band. That led to a lot of cool. Doing announcements on stage. Dude, that's a good question. I don't remember my first one.
Do you remember if you were nervous or scared or pooping turtle heads?
Dude, you know what, man? I don't remember introducing bands as much as just being very class clown, very much vocal, very vocal, and not scared. I remember I used to speak in front of my lecture classrooms on medical marijuana initiatives in 1997 in Arizona. And my professors would let me speak in front of the lecture classrooms a few minutes before class started.
Were you pretty comfortable, public speaking?
Yeah.
That's good.
I look when I really think back on how I got the balls to really not be scared, I'm always nervous.
Are you?
But always.
Yeah.
But when I think it was really getting in front of my lecture classrooms, because it was people I didn't know, and there was 100 people or more, and I would just talk, and I would try to engage people with like making funny and being just authentic. I think. And I think that's really where it started. But I'm always nervous when I get up on stage. I don't remember the first time I did a major band introduction, and I wish I did. Now I have to think back on that for the book, of course. But I don't remember the first time. I mean, I remember bands would ask me, you know, to bring them up. I mean, working in Memphis, Tennessee, I think we did some of that for bands and shows that we sponsored at the radio station. And we did a lot of that in Memphis, New Daisy Theater, and some of the cool venues out in Memphis. I remember getting up and introducing some bands like that. I think that's where it really started, I think, on a more professional level. But I always get super nervous when I do that stuff. I don't ever plan out what I say.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did they don't tell you? They just
no.
Say, that's good.
I mean, sometimes I've had bosses or people say, you got to do this, 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 this. Oh, and don't forget this. And I'm like, oh, man. But I mostly try to just always freestyle.
You don't write it down? Freestyle.
No,
that's
man.
Good.
Dude, for me, I think a real, like when I'm teaching DJs and training DJs, and I've trained most of our rock DJs on Sirius XM. I trained most of them.
That is awesome.
The first thing is just be authentic. You know, being just super real. Like the moment you start to think too much about it, it's not the same. I always go on the side of just raw dog and then bail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just don't even think. Just come from the heart. Just go.
That's like being a musician, though. Exact same
thing,
right?
I mean, it is. I think sometimes I think there's a lot of pressure, you know, on talking in front of an audience without an instrument. You know, and sometimes, like, you know, who am I? Like, who cares? Like, sometimes, like, I feel like, who cares that I'm up there? Some people are haters and stuff, too. But I always just try to come swinging from the side of the fan. And sometimes pointing out the obvious. Like, look at all of us gathered here. Like, we're all together. You know, for me, my message really, most of the time, is that. You know, like, look at all of us. Like, we come from different parts. We're all believe in different things and whatever, politically or whatever, you know, but we're all here. We're all metalheads. We should take care of each other. Let's have fun, you know? So that's, like, a good message. And even haters can't, like, hate on that sometimes. Like, oh, I don't like him on the radio, but he's right, you know? And so for me, that's it. I just want to excite people. You know, it's cool to get the bands excited. You know, when bands come to me and they say, "We love it when you do introductions for us. That you hype us up, you get us all crazy." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" Like, I don't even think about that side. But after, you know, doing it for so many years, like, for me, it is about hyping those guys up.
Yeah.
You know, before I go out, afterwards, and I come out and I'm all hyped up and they're all hyped up and I'm like hitting them and they're like, yeah, and they, you know, and it's like a tribal thing, man. So, and it is like, you know, I do feel like I'm a representative on a global scale for metal fans. And, you know, and being in front of them, you know, is a big deal because I do feel the love. And I do want to push positivity and good shit. And you know, and celebrate the fact that we love this music and that we're raising our kids on it. You know what I mean? And push that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, my life did change when I introduced Metallica. That was, I think, the life-changing introduction on stage for me was at Yankee Stadium, Big Four, New York.
Oh, that was Big Four.
Yeah, that was a very big show. Anthrax, Megadeth, Slayer, and Metallica.
Yeah.
And I remember I was doing Headbangers Ball and Sirius XM stuff, and at the time, and I was eating chicken tenders. I didn't eat all day, and I was just trying to eat something because I started to get like dizzy. That's what happens to me. I don't eat, dude. And I just get caught up in working, and it happens so much. And that's my wife and I get into super big fights about this all the time because I can just go all day and not eat, and then she gets angry and mad and wants to kill me, you know. So, but I was eating chicken tenders in the press box, just watching Slayer, just taking a moment to. I gotta eat. Yeah. I was seriously getting dizzy, and then I got a call from Metallica's manager. Hey. We need you to meet us. Can you meet us in 15 minutes in this section here? And I was like, yeah, why? We're gonna have you introduce Metallica. And I'm like, and that's when my asshole. I was like, I couldn't even finish my damn fucking tender, and I just wanted to eat my tenders, dude. And all of a sudden, I got so nervous, I couldn't eat, I couldn't think. I started shaking. It was Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
And it was the first rock show, and it was the biggest East Coast metal show to date. And I was like, what am I gonna say? Oh shit! And I just started getting super nervous.
So what happens? Like, are you this way in front of the band? Like
I smoke weed, and I calm down a little bit, and then I didn't see the band before. I was with management and like stage manager guy, you know, people that are just with things in their ears and walkie-talkies, and some dude was holding a wireless microphone, and he was in front of me, and he was like this, and then the other guy, manager, was behind me, and he was on his phone. I was just by myself, dude, on stage, and I was like, oh my God. And then I was just waiting, and then he was like, okay, go! And then he gives me the microphone. And then he's like pushes me out, and then I just go out there, and then I'm on the Jumbotron, and I didn't know I was on the Jumbotron until after. And then I just go out there, and then I'm like, hey!
Did it just all went away? Did it just kind of...
I just was super comfortable. Hey! Hey! I was like, and then I just... energy, and it just came, and the everything just came and hit me, what, you know, where I was, New York City, what we were there for. I think I said something about how, you know, how I told you, just look at all of us together. Here's the biggest metal show on the East Coast ever. You know, you're a part of history. You know, and just like, and give it up for these bands. You know, and then all I knew what I was gonna say, I was gonna curse one time. Dave Mustaine had given me some advice a couple times, and he got mad at me a couple of times. That's another story, but for cursing on stage in intros and stuff. And I knew that I was gonna curse once.
What would he say about cursing?
I mean, just he says it's a crutch. It's I'm nervous. You're nervous. You're relying on crutches. You're not speaking right. You're not.
Makes sense.
And you're nervous. So you're showing it by cursing. And I didn't think of it that way. But I mean, he was kind of right too. But I like to curse too sometimes. But for this one, I said, "Give it up for fucking Slayer." You know, and that was my one F-bomb, because I knew that if he was listening, that's a safe one. But I knew that I was gonna curse. So he just had a talk with me that he just made me aware of it. And now every time I go up on stage, I'm aware of it. I still curse.
Right. That reminds me of like Henry Rollins, because he has a thing about cursing too. That podcast.
Yeah, I mean,
and he kind of basically describes it like you, like it's kind of like a crutch, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's filler. It's easy filler. It's easy. It's less than you can be. I get it, but sometimes, I mean, fuck, I introduce Slayer all the time. How could you not say fucking Slayer? Like, so, but I did it, and I talked for like, it was like a 3-minute intro. And then the next morning, I remember walking off the stage, just electrified. My phone was vibrating nonstop because people were just like, holy shit, because nobody knew. I didn't tell anybody, and because I didn't know. And so, and I didn't want people to know. I was super fucking freaking out. And then I remember all the cops, the firefighters, they were all giving me high fives as I was walking down the ramp, and I was like, oh my God. And the next day, I went to work super hungover, so tired. And I walked into work, I sat down, and then the president's assistant came by and he put the New York Post or the Times of New York Post, I don't remember which one now, and it was the front page entertainment section, and it was the review of the Metallica Big Four concert, and the first paragraph was, and Sirius XM Liquid Metal host perfectly summed up what everybody was, and then they quoted fucking me, and in the fucking New York Times or Post, I'm sorry, I don't remember now, I should, and then the president wanted to talk to me. And then I remember I walked into his office and he was like, "How did you do this? How did you set this up? This is amazing." And I was just like super hungover. I'm like, "Oh my God." And he was asking me, "How did it happen?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just said I was eating chicken fingers." And then they called me.
Got a little dizzy.
Yeah, and then I told him the chicken finger story and he was cracking up. And then he was like, "Man," and because at the time I was getting in trouble for doing side jobs. So it was going back to your another question, for doing side things, for hosting things, for doing things where I didn't ask permission from my boss at the time. Jose Mangin from Sirius XM hosting this. He was like, "You got to get permission for that." And I was like, "What? Why? I'm taking vacation days. I don't. And he was like, "You still need to ask me." And so I would do it and I would get in trouble a bunch.
Oh, wow.
And so I got in trouble a bunch. And then that intro, the president was like, "You can do that whatever you want. You do more of that. We want you to do more of that and more of that." And he was like, "If anybody ever, you come to me." And I was just like, "Oh." And that's when I was just like, "Okay, it's on.
That's amazing.
Let's do this." And so it was the Big Four Metallica intro. So
wow.
yeah, so that was real emotional, man. All that stuff, man. All that stuff's super, like, even looking back and thinking about that, thinking about how I didn't even mess up, like I did this fucking
It's all meant
perfect
to
intro.
happen.
And then my president asked me, he was like, how did you know what to say? And I said, "Dude, I'm a soldier. I'm on the air every single day doing the same thing."
Put the work in.
Yeah, I mean, every day I'm on, every day. So it's just it's practice. It's trying to just always be better at your craft. But being on Sirius on these stations for so many years, every single day, like I'm talking so much, like I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just boom, boom, boom. It's like a reflex.
It's very inspiring.
So on stage too, it's the same thing. Give me a mic. I see people. I see horns. Boom. I got it. What do I got it? I got it. I got it. What do I need to do? Is it a talent show for elementary school? I got it. Let's go. Like I hosted our kids' talent show for 3 years. I was the MC. It was awesome.
Great.
And so I didn't curse, you know what I mean? But I did throw the horns and I did promote rock music and I did promote what I do, always. I'm always preaching metal and hard rock and trying to get kids, to come over and hang with us,
Yeah, that's super inspiring.
Have the candy, kids.
There you
Come over here, it's good. So I try to dangle the candy in front of kids, and throughout my all their lives at school, I would do stuff in the classroom. I'd bring an amp. I would do like a cool
like
pictures.
a School of Rock or something. Man.
Yeah,
That's what
I
it
would
feels
just
like.
say what I do as a messenger of metal, and how. But for pharmacy and so I would teach all these kids. I mean, I talked to college students, junior high, elementary students, and I talk about my education and how important it was for me to get all this stuff now. And then I just talk about all the cool stuff, but I try to make it super inspiring to everybody and to make sure that they know that, how important education is and how integral, playing instruments is too. And so when I'm in these elementary school classrooms, I have my half stack and I start playing Metallica and Pantera riffs for the kids. And one time I had the kids like strap around the guitar and like headbang and see how it feels like, to get them excited about it. I've had parents come up to me and say, you got my kid excited to play drums, or you got my kid wanting to play guitar now. Thank you, and I'm like, God. And I just want to try to do that too. I mean, make it cool for kids.
That's awesome.
To play or listen to this music.
Dude, very inspiring. I love that. And kind of wrapping this up, there's two things I kind of want to talk about real quickly is Tequila. Like, how did you get in, with that and with the clothing? So you went from announcing all these bands on stage and then doing all these side projects. You had to get permission to do all these different things?
No, because I kept it off the radio. You know, I just kept it as far as just, you know, my real life, you know, and I'm pretty active on social, so that's where a lot of that stuff really works well. I mean, but again, I just surround myself with things that I love. For Affliction clothing, my wife bought me my first Affliction shirt, I think it was 2006 or maybe early 2007, and I did an interview wearing that shirt with the band Ancla. The bass player, Tony, who's now the bass player in King, he's one of my best friends now. I just met him at the time. His sister went to school with the vice president of Affliction at the time. And I was hosting a TV show, nationally syndicated TV show called Latin Nation. It was it was a half-hour news magazine show where me and a cool female co-host would introduce packages, stories on Latinos doing cool things in life. You know, music, art, comedy, acting, things like that. So my friend that I just met, he was like, because of your TV show and what you do, you should get a hold of him. So I got a hold of this guy. I met him at the Ozfest in California in 2007. I introduced him to a bunch of metal bands on that festival. And he gave me a bunch of shirts. And I was like, oh, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Whoa, thanks, man. Just because I introduced you to these dudes that are my friends, like, yeah, okay. So then that's how it started. And I just started getting like free clothes, and I would wear it on the TV show all the time. I'd wear it at appearances or whatever, and it just started that way. And you know, I've become very loyal with, you know, brands or, you know, whatever, music or whatever. Very loyal. Yeah. And that's all I wore forever. And then after a few years, there's some people changed there, and I sent the owner an email, a Dropbox link of 100 pictures of me in 1 year with all these different celebrities, all wearing Affliction. 100 pictures from 1 year, and I had more, but I stopped at 100. And the dude, again, it was kind of like that email I emailed the Sirius dude at the time, was kind of like insane, like 100 fucking pictures in a Dropbox link. It's kind of, it's insane. And then I sent it, and he started cracking up, and then he said, hey, come over, let's talk. And then he hired me part-time to be a brand ambassador while living in New York, and dress musicians. He was like, you can dress whoever you want. And I was like, really? And so Lejean from Seven Dust, like, you know, Dave Mustaine, Tom Araya, Lizzie, like all my friends, Rob Halford, you know, I just started hooking everybody up with clothes, anybody I wanted to. And then I just loved it because I'm a giver, dude. Like, I love supporting these bands and friends, and all of a sudden I'm able to give them a sick leather jacket and jeans and like cool, and they're like,
it's the best job
what?
ever.
What? And beer and weed and tequila? Like, you know, so I love showering people with gifts, you know? That's what I do, always. And my wife and I, we do that for our friends, and, you know, we're givers, man. Yeah. That's all we know.
Dude, what you're saying is so inspiring to me. It's that you're loyal to Sirius, to anything you do, you're pretty amazingly loyal and giver, and just, it's very
17
inspiring.
years married, 19 years of Sirius XM, 12 years with Affliction. And then after a few years of being part-time, that's when Affliction was like, move to California. And I said, no, I want to, but my wife can't, but she won't, she'll kill me. And then my kids are all New Jersey, New York, and then Affliction kept on. And then we finally moved to California to do what I do, but do it next to them in their headquarters in Seal Beach. And so they're even more a part of me, you know. But they've never, ever, ever said, you need to wear this. How about a post? How about a tweet? How about doing it? They've never, ever said anything to me. They're just like, you do what you do, because where you go, we go. And that's what, you know, all these events that we do at the headquarters, like we have this cool Stone Sour Cherry Bombs thing that we're doing with Zippo at my studios. I mean, all that stuff just, I mean, it's just amazing to have a spot to do that. And, you know, so it's been a really great relationship with Tequila. I've been a fan of Tequila, being, you know, Mexican. My grandfather's from Jalisco, Mexico, where tequila is really born. And I became just a fan of collecting añejo and extra añejo bottles, and that became my hobby. And we would go all over the country sipping on different types of tequilas, trying different types out. We tasted Rio Azul in New York City one time at Guy Fieri's restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Because I went to the wrong venue. We were late, and it was a Stone Sour show. And I took my wife and I to the wrong venue in New York City. She was so mad at me, and I was so embarrassed that I went to the wrong venue. So she was like, "We're just gonna go. Let's just go right here." So we went across the street and ate, and that's where we discovered Rio Azul.
Oh, okay.
So it happened for a reason.
That's so random.
But I got in big trouble,
for
Scott.
a reason.
But we was like, what is this? And we took pictures, and then we started ordering it from our local liquor store. He started carrying it. For years went by, and I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I was hired by Jägermeister. I was a Jägermeister spokesperson, but I couldn't talk about tequila. They would be mad at me. And so I just kept on buying Rio Azul, introducing it because it's my favorite. Introduced to everybody, and then I finally stalked the owner on LinkedIn and Facebook for a few months until he responded back to me. And he did, and I met him in New York City at my studios. We fell in love. He's the same age as me. I love him very much. He became my tequila Yoda, my master, and I'm still getting my black belt, and I'm training because I want to be a master tequila dude. And this dude is his family. It's been in his family for the property and everything. And I love the story, and it's about roots too. Very proud to be Latino and Mexicano. So I think for me, I was just drawn to it too, So we became. I quit Jägermeister. I started helping out Rio Azul, spending more money, and then we moved to California. And then he moved to California before us. We moved out, and then we were just talking. He was like, "You want to take the next step? You want to invest?" And I was like, "Oh shit, really?" And I've never invested into anything. My wife and we invested in Rio Azul, and then we became co-owners.
Man,
so I'm not the owner or founder, I'm a co-owner, very proud of Rio Azul. I have a glass of tequila every day, sipping on it. You sip on tequila, good stuff. You don't want to ever use the salt or lime, and don't mix the añejo or the extra añejo with margaritas. Use the plata or the clear stuff, for the silver or whatever for that. But you want to sip on this stuff, man. Our añejo is aged 2 years in cognac barrels. So it's just gorgeous, gorgeous sipping. And the agave plants are from the highlands of Jalisco, where the nutrients are. We're in lava rocks on slopes, and we're high altitude. So a lot of our plants die, but the ones that survive are stronger. And they're piña, the part of the center of the plant where tequila and mezcal is made from. The piña part is sweeter because of where it's grown and how it had to be strong to survive that high up. So it's crazy. We can get super nerdy, but it all goes back to like science
you can see
too.
The commercial, like it's.
It is. And for me, it's another nerd out moment. It's another nerdy thing for me to do. Like metal is nerdy.
Yeah.
Like analyzing stuff and albums and rotations and everything. I'm very analytical with that. Tequila, very chemistry driven. Very botany and all that stuff. It's just really cool.
Where can people go if they want this tequila? Like, where's the place to go?
I mean, we're in 27 states, and so we're pretty much everywhere. There's a site that ships out to most states. So there's a site, Old Town Liquor in San Diego, Old Town Liquor. If you order Rio Azul from them, they'll send to any state.
Oh.
So it is available.
Good.
Yeah.
I gotta try this.
And then we have our famous cocktail, Satan's Jizz. It's pretty awesome. I don't know if there's any religious people here, but it's always funny to say that to females.
You need a T-shirt that says it. Satan's Jizz.
I know, I do, but I think it might. Yeah, I mean, I love the name, but I do know that it's also maybe a little offensive to some people.
Right.
But Satan's Jizz is our Rio Azul Plata, and we infuse it for 3 or 4 days with jalapeno slices and cucumber slices muddled to get that extra wetness in this cucumber slice. Marinate it for about 3 or 4 days in big glass jars, strain it, put it back in the bottles, refrigerate, and you have ammunition for some killer spicy margaritas. And then I add agave nectar and lime juice. And then I rim with jalapeno salt and tajin combo. And so it's like, Satan's jizz, man.
We need some Satan jizz. Like,
I know.
right here.
Man, it's hard to travel with, man. You know, it's hard to travel with that stuff. But it is quite popular. It is our most famous drink. We have it at all of our parties. We don't have any party without Satan's jizz. I want it to be on menus all over the country.
Yes.
You know, so I'll broadcast my show from there. Satan's jizz is on the menu. Don't worry.
Dude,
but
you
yeah.
can't say that and not smile. It is like Satan's
Yeah,
jizz.
I think it's cool. I think it's fun. But some people are like, you know, you got to change the name.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's like
This is
Satan's
Satan's
jizz.
jizz.
There's a hashtag. I started it years ago. I can't stop now.
Jose, man, I appreciate you being
Oh,
here,
man,
brother.
yeah. Is that it? We're good?
Dude, we're good now, man.
See, I talk so much,
No,
Scott,
no,
man.
you're good.
Did we get to everything?
Dude, we got to everything.
Okay, I hope we did, man.
Very inspiring story, all the way to Satan's jizz. I love it.
Yeah,
man.
that's how we end? Is that how the
That's
show
how
ends
it
on
is.
Satan's jizz? That's pretty cool, man. Hey, dude, but thank you for doing this.
Dude,
Thanks for
thank you
being a
so- you're
supporter
very
of all
inspiring.
the bands, dude. I know
yeah.
a lot of the bands you're a fan of. I'm a big fan of, big
Yeah.
supporter of. Thanks for supporting the scene
Thank
and
you,
these
man.
guys, and you know, people are stoked to come out here and do
Means
all
a
this
lot
stuff.
to me, man.
Thanks for having Modelo too here.
Yes.
That's my favorite. Yeah.